I spent over 24 hours in-game, completing more than 700 rounds of zombies, and earning over 100 individual Gobblegums, all in an effort to find out exactly how Gobblegums work in Black Ops 6. I have charts, I have graphs, and I have what could be the best spreadsheet I've ever made, and let me tell you, what you think you know about Gobblegums is completely wrong. First things first, this is going to be a very technical, high-level video here with lots of numbers, lots of game design stuff here. If you just want to skip to the recap and you don't care about the story behind everything, I will hopefully put chapters in all of this and make it really easy for you. However, I would highly encourage you to stay put, watch all of the video, because there are a lot of numbers and a lot of story behind how I got to the conclusions I did. I wanted to make the best Gobblegum video out there. Of course, as a YouTuber, you want to make the how to earn ultra rare Gobblegums every single game, how to get perkaholics faster and all this stuff. So in order to do that, I really wanted to test out and know the intimacies of this Gobblegum system. I didn't just want to like throw up a video and go play until you get a Gobblegum and then reset. Like I felt like that was disingenuous of me, so I made this. I tried tracking everything that I could possibly think of about Gobblegums and really try to figure out. So here's what I did. Over here we have the instance of the Gobblegum. That is every time that Gobblegum animation comes in and spins up and gives you something. We have the game, because I recorded every single game. We have whether or not I used the Rampage Inducer and which Gobblegums, I was awarded with the Rampage Inducer on, whether or not I exfilled, how long the round was, how long the game was in terms of sheer game time. Of course, I recorded all of them and looked at the timestamps and all that stuff. And then additionally, I recorded each round that I earned the Gobblegum and how long into the match that I earned the Gobblegum. Here we have the actual Gobblegums that I earned, so you can kind of see here, there's a drop down of all the Gobblegums. You can see round 7, I earned an anywhere but here, I was this many minutes into the match. On round 19, I earned these 3 Gobblegums right here, and I was this many minutes into the match. And then over here, you can see the quantity, just counting this over here on this side. And here's an interesting stat that we're going to talk a lot about. This is the time since statistic, time since we earned our last Gobblegum. So here on round 19, we earned these 3 Gobblegums, and it had been 15 minutes since we had earned these Gobblegums on round 16, which it was 13 minutes since we earned this Gobblegum on round 9. Everything making sense so far, pretty standard, pretty straightforward. I know there's a lot of stuff down here, don't worry too much about it. And then on the right here, we have the comments. This was an Easter egg run. I spent a lot of time on the late teen, early 20s. Obviously, we'll get into that. And then, of course, on the right-hand side here, we have our double Gobblegum, because for the first however long this was, how many game minutes was this? This looks to be almost 11 hours worth of game time right here. The first 11 hours of this test was during double Gobblegum. And so you better believe every single graph that I have, every single thing is going to be split up between the double Gobblegum and the regular Gobblegum, so don't you worry, statistically significant stuff is still going to be there. But as you could see, I did really genuinely record all of these things legitimately. Now, as much as I want to go into when these instances actually occur, that's a little complicated, so I want to start simple and answer some pretty easy questions. For example, does going for high rounds get you more Gobblegums? Well, luckily I have all of these Gobblegum instances right here, and not only did I make this spreadsheet right here, I also made this spreadsheet right here. Let's zoom out of this. Yeah, look at this. So this is every single round on top and every single Gobblegum on the side. And like I said, this is all of the Gobblegums combined right here. This is the Gobblegums. These are the Gobblegums I earned off of the double Gobblegum XP, and these are the Gobblegums that I earned during the double Gobblegum XP thing. And I should mention, this spreadsheet is going to be the first link in the description if you want to follow along, look at these numbers, check me out, check out my own numbers, or erase all of the data and you can use it yourself for your own Gobblegum tracking means. So you can see the total Gobblegums that we earned per Gobblegum right here on the side. Down here we have a Gobblegum per rarity right here. And then all across this bottom row right here, you can see all of the different Gobblegums per round. So you can see around 20, we earned that. On round 19, all of these things are the per round gums. So like I said, lots of numbers, lots of graphs. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, I do have to admit that I did not do a terribly large amount of round 50 runs. I did around 40, round 50, round 55 right there, but most of my runs were around 25, 28, 26, 31, 31, 31, 36, 36, 36, 36, 26, 26. So you can see around 25 to 35 was a majority of the rounds that I got to. Very rarely we did a 20, a 20, 16, 19, I think I died there. So I will self-admit that this is probably not the most scientific run 10 games of round 50, run 10 games of round 40, scientific method that I could possibly have done. I will counter that by saying, first of all, I don't think many people are getting to those high rounds. Second, This is 24 hours of game time. If we don't see a pattern in this 24-hour time period, that's a little crazy and almost insignificant to think about. But again, that's just my bias. But hopefully, as you can tell from this chart, you do not get more Gobblegums the higher rounds you go. And that's exactly what this graph is. You can kind of see the 3 goes to here, the 3 goes to here. You can see our 2 5s are right here. You can see these 2 8s are right there. We got the most amount of Gobblegums on round 19 and 20 on round 17. And there's a reason for that. I believe it's because I spend the most amount of time on those rounds doing Easter egg steps and side quests and stuff, but we'll get to that. But if there was any sort of substantial increase in probability of getting gums in these higher rounds, shouldn't these like round 55, round 51, round 41 runs get us more than just what, like 2 Gobblegums? Yeah, we got 2 Gobblegums past round 40. If I did 3 runs and only got 2 Gobblegums past round 40, I don't know. To me, that's not anything statistically significant. So I can debunk this right now with 90% certainty. Getting to higher rounds does not get you any more Gobblegums. And that also goes for the quantity of Gobblegums. You might think, oh, well, donuts, maybe they'll give you like 3 Gobblegums in the higher rounds. No, because this 3 Gobblegum was at round 19. This was at 24. This guy was at 34, which is the highest one because this one down here is at round 20. This one down here is at round 12. I got 12 on round 12. I got 3 Gobblegums on round 12. So clearly getting to higher rounds does absolutely jack for getting you more Gobblegums. And this makes sense because if this were true, we have like a dozen people going for around 999. They would be swimming in Gobblegums. They would be shouting it from the heavens. It's just not true. Second of all, do you get rarer Gobblegums going into the high rounds? Are you going to get a lot of ultras, a lot of legendaries, a lot of epics over here? Again, no. You could see all but one of my ultra Gobblegums, the rarest Gobblegums in the game, all of them except one, were between rounds 12 and round 20. Before or at round 20 is when I got all 4 out of my 5 ultra Gobblegums. If getting to higher rounds did change the statistics of all of these Gobblegums, you would expect to see a lot less of these legendary, a lot less of these epics down here before round 10, and you would see a lot more of them above round 30, above round 40. And granted, our highest Gobblegum is an epic Gobblegum here. Who's keeping score at round 49, and we do have this on the, or what is this, crate power at round 41, but then at the very same time, our earliest Gobblegum on round 2 is a who's keeping score. So I can conclude fairly confidently, again, I'm trying to be honest here, I'm not trying to say things too definitively, but after 24 hours of testing all of these Gobblegums, I did not see any correlation between the round you're on and the probability of the rarity of the Gobblegum that you get. So whenever you see that Gobblegum animation, you have the same opportunity to earn any Gobblegums on any round. Now, when it comes to how rare are the rare Gobblegums, I think that's a little bit more concrete. Coming down here, we have our double Gobblegum graph right here. We have 34 rares, 21 epics, 10 legendary, 4 ultras. That's right, I earned most of my ultras during double Gobblegum anyway. It looks as though ultras are half as rare as legendary, which are half as rare as epic, which is about 2/3 as rare, which honestly really makes sense. It could be all relative to ultra here. You could argue this is times 2, this is times 4, and this is times 8 to rare. I don't know how it works, but that seems to be the most consistent number that we got. And also the fact that this is pretty consistent right here in terms of how rare these things are also leads me to believe, or furthers my evidence, I should say, that it's not dependent on the rounds, because this counter down here is counting all of the different rounds all the time. If we were getting more ultras and more epic Gobblegums down here, then that would skew these numbers right here. You would be able to manipulate the Gobblegum spawns by going to round 50 and going to those higher rounds, around 30s, 40, 50, all that stuff, to where you would get less rare and less epic and less legendary. Now here is the regular Gobblegum earn rate and the double Gobblegum earn rate all combined onto this graph right here. You can see it follows a very similar thing. We didn't get very many ultras. I think I'm getting unlucky. I don't know. But ultra, very rare. Legendary is the next up. Legendary is about half as rare as epic, which is about half as rare as rare is. It all makes sense. Now, I know, especially us people who are on YouTube who are making spreadsheets about Gobblegums, we would like the fact that higher rounds might give you more Gobblegums or rare Gobblegums. That would be really nice for the experienced players. But thinking about this from a developer point of view, you do not want to limit the more casual or the more less skilled players who only get to round 20, who only get to round 15 or barely round 30. You don't want to punish them by not awarding them these Gobblegums. So it only makes sense that you're probably not going to develop a system where these ultra Gobblegums only appear after round 50 or 100 or something. Now, I could be wrong about that. That could be totally the direction we're going, and even I myself, as an average zombie player, haven't reached those high enough rounds to justify the ultra Gobblegum spins yet. But again, if that were true, that the rounds 150 plus were getting you tons and tons of ultras, all of the dozens of players playing up until the round 300, 400, 700 people are on right now, they would be rolling in all the perkaholics. They would be rolling in all the ultras, but that is just not happening. But now we need to move on to the next conspiracy theory, and that is the fact that, is there any difference in statistics between the Gobblegums within the rarity themselves? So is who's keeping score very uncommon versus profit sharing? When you do get a legendary, are you more likely to get an idolize or a phoenix up? And this is going to be really difficult because, again, after 24 hours of in-game time, these are the Gobblegums that I got. I have heard things, I've seen comments, I've seen videos saying, oh my goodness, Soda Fountain is incredibly uncommon. It's the least common epic Gobblegum, but here I have it as my most common Gobblegum. I've heard, oh my goodness, Idolize is the rarest legendary. It's the most legendary that I have. Oh, it's impossible to get a range. It's the most common ultra that I have. The thing about this entire study is that, yes, I did get 108 Gobblegums, which is decent for a study, but it is nowhere near enough to really get a clear black and white picture. And if 100 isn't enough, then my goodness, the stinking 35, 18, 5 and 50 we have for all of these guys is nowhere near enough. Now, if I post this video and every single one of you out there goes, you know what, Donuts, I never get killjoys. I always get anywhere but here in Temporal Gift. And you fill out this chart and you have the same thing over, days and days of game time, then fine. We can all agree as a community that, yeah, okay, these are the most common ones and these are the least common ones and whatnot. But 50 gums divided by 7 different things is just a toss of the dice. It's a coin flip. And I would say it's impossible to say, because from these stats alone, I got 100 Gobblegums. I never got a near-death experience. How do I even know near-death experience is even in the game? Maybe it's glitched. Maybe it just never gives it out. It's hard to make statistical statements based on so few Gobblegums. And yes, that is a problem with this whole entire study. But again, 24 hours game time. This is what I did more than a prestige in this thing. But I am pretty confident in saying that I don't think that any of these rarities favor certain Gobblegums, because the Gobblegums that I hear that other people say that are favorited or not favorited are the Gobblegums that I'm getting the most, or the Gobblegums that I'm getting the least. But again, if we all collectively recorded all of this on the spreadsheet, I think we'd get a more clear answer. But again, that's not what this video is about. And that was, believe it or not, the easy stuff. So I do have a graph down here. This is all the frequency of the Gobblegums. Like I said, about if we were to expect more Gobblegums in the later rounds, you would expect this graph to go up, because these are recording the amount of Gobblegums we get in the round. So if higher rounds awarded you more gums in any capacity, you would expect this graph to be going up. It seems to be staying level because of how Gobblegums are earned. If that chart was a little overwhelming for you, here is a graph. And again, it looks very much like all of these dots, all of these Gobblegums are just randomly scattered throughout here. If we got more Gobblegums after round 20, after round 30, you would expect to see more Gobblegums above these rounds. But again, this looks really almost perfectly separated, as if the rounds have nothing to do with earning Gobblegums. And like I said, the easy part is over, because now what we have to talk about is how the heck do you even earn Gobblegums in the first place? There were a lot of theories, and the main theory is that it is round based. Like we just said, a lot of people say, oh, you go to a high round, you get this Gobblegum, so you want to speed run, use this to get to the high round. And when you look at these rounds right here, there is just absolutely zero, and I mean zero correlation with how many rounds you have to go through. In our very first game right here, let me zoom in, we got a Gobblegum on round 7, we got a Gobblegum on round 9, so 2 rounds apart. Then we got a Gobblegum on round 16, which is 7 rounds. We got a Gobblegum on round 19, which is 3 rounds apart. We got a Gobblegum on round 25, which is 6 rounds since the last one. And then we got a Gobblegum on round 26, the very next round. Clearly, there is no system like Black Ops 3 or Cold War where it's just waiting for you to progress around and then it will give you a Gobblegum. 4, 11, 17, 20, and then 21, and then 24, and then 26. Like, there is just no correlation between rounds. And if there were, then we would know it by now. Just like we knew back in Black Ops 3, oh, it's every like 7 to 8 rounds, then you could buy stuff to get a liquid divinium. Or in Cold War, hey, you're at the end of a round milestone, hey, we earned Ethereum crystals. So I can, again, mostly certainty here, You do not earn Gobblegums by the amount of rounds you progress. You can see right here, I've done one round and gotten a Gobblegum on both of those rounds. And then down here in one of our most recent games here, this round 50, I think, I progressed 10 rounds from 39 to 49, all without a single Gobblegum. There is no correlation between rounds and Gobblegum. Even though that's an interesting theory because you do get awarded a Gobblegum, one of these instances starts as soon as the round ends. It makes sense why people would think that, but there is absolutely no scientific proof that I have that correlates the two. So I have two remaining theories. First of all, it could be based on your XP. Second of all, it could be based in time. Maybe the game is giving you Gobblegums based on how much XP you have earned. Once you complete some challenges, once you do certain things, level up your gun, oh wow, you've earned enough XP, here's a Gobblegum. I don't have very definitive proof that that is true. However, I do want to show you a little clip here from game 19. This is not double Gobblegum, this is not double XP, this is just a regular game, game 19. I was testing out this very theory, and on round 9, I get a Gobblegum, and then I progressed round 9, I progressed round 10 with absolutely no challenges, no bonuses, no nothing, and there you go, on round 11, I earn yet another Gobblegum. And then fast forward, after round 11, I pick up a challenge, I do some things, I use some reticle challenges, I complete some camo challenges, I think somewhere in there, and I play all the way until round 26, and I do not get any other Gobblegum for the rest of the game. So either some hidden, mysterious XP counter just progressed between round 9 and round 11 that we can't measure, and that XP had to be more than round 11 to round 26, or it's probably not based on XP either. Although I think XP might play a part, because the final conclusion that I have to all of this, the big conspiracy theory, the big breakthrough, is that Gobblegums are awarded to you simply after a certain amount of time. Yes, this is where the time since statistic comes very much in handy. And of course, you know, I had to graph it here. Let's see if I can't make this any bigger for you. So this is with double Gobblegum going right now. This is the first 10, 11 hours that I got of playtime, and you could see it's actually pretty consistent. 13, 15, 14, 12, 12, 11, 11, 14. You can see down here, again, very consistent times here, except of course we have a little bit of these outliers right here, which is like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. But you almost notice, like I did, these inconsistencies right here are almost at a consistent level here. And this red line right here is the average of all of these guys. At least I think so. It's the trending line. The average that I have right here is 12 minutes and 15 seconds. And during this time, I actually went to, I think it was Zone X's live stream. And when I figured this out, this 12-minute interval, I was able to fairly decently accurately predict when he was going to earn the next Gobblegum. It'd be about 12 minutes, and I'd be like, hey, it's going to be in the next round or two. What do you know? It was in the next round or two. Playing my own game. I've even slipped a little bit on live commentaries. I say, oh, I bet you I'll get it within the first 5 rounds, or after the first 5 rounds. And there you go. I was correct about these things. Now, after the double Gobblegum was done, we have this graph right here. Of course, with the single Gobblegum, 12 minutes 15. With the, this is with the double Gobblegum right here. With the single Gobblegum, hey, what do you know? The time is almost exactly doubled. And again, you can kind of see this pattern of, hey, there every once in a while, we will have a Gobblegum that is incredibly short. And don't you worry, I will explain away these things, but I just want to show you for a second here what this graph looks like without those things. Oh, it only goes to 10. It makes it more consistent. I know the graph, it starts at 10 here now instead of 0, but it makes it more consistent. If we go ahead and get rid of those, our average time becomes around 25 minutes. Very, very interesting. And then down here, we have total rounds per game. Again, we have the quantity, so 1, 2, or 3. I thought maybe those are at some sort of time interval. Again, it just looks completely random to me. And this game time is completely continuous. It doesn't reset. It's just completely continuous throughout your entire gameplay experience. So it doesn't reset when you restart a round. It doesn't reset when you exfil. It's just continuously going. I believe that's something that supply drops did way back in Advanced Warfare. It was sheer game time. It's what the Battle Pass does. My goodness, there you go. It's what the Battle Pass does. It's just game time, maybe a little bit of XP in there. So Donuts, explain to me, if this is truly time-based, if you need to wait 24, 20 minutes, 25 minutes before you earn another Gobblegum, how in the world are we earning Gobblegums 3, 4, 3 minutes after our previous Gobblegum? Well, let's visualize it this way. I've upgraded from spreadsheets. I'm using Photoshop now here. So we're going to full screen this thing. So let's explain what's going on here. This blue line, I imagine, my hypothesis is that this blue line represents the 20 or 25-minute intervals that I think the game is checking to give you a Gobblegum. This red line represents your progression through the rounds themselves. So hey, you get this round, you got through a bug round, hey, this is a regular round, all that sort of good stuff. And then this purple line represents the time since last Gobblegum statistic that I graphed and researched. So I would record, hey, we got a Gobblegum at this time, and then we got a Gobblegum at this time, and we got a Gobblegum at this time. So you can see from time here, that might be your like 28 or a really long time. And then this little short little guy right here represents the 2 or 3 minute or 4 minute time that we got between Gobblegums too. So let's imagine you're playing a game and then the game says, hey, boom, we've reached a checkpoint. It's been 20, 25 minutes. We're going to award you a Gobblegum the next round you progress. So here you are progressing through your rounds and boom, you've reached your next round and the game gives you a Gobblegum. This is awesome. I write down the number. It's all great and happy. We love the gambling. It's fun. You go through your bug round, you go through your regular round, you go through another regular round, but then on this round you go, hey, I'm going to do some Easter egg steps. I'm going to fight this boss. I'm going to do the crack it boss fight, or I'm going to do all the LTG things for Liberty Falls, whatever. And then it takes you a really, really long time to get through this round. And within this round, you have then progressed another 20-minute cycle here for the game to go, hey, you've earned another Gobblegum way back here, but you've progressed all this way through this round, and then boom, here's the next round you progress, and boom, we have another Gobblegum awarded to you. Great. So from our observations, we earned a Gobblegum within this amount of time right here. However, we actually are already accounting for the Gobblegum right here. We have all of this extra space that we're counting as this Gobblegum, where it's actually counting towards the next Gobblegum, because then you might have a normal round after that and boom, we got another Gobblegum. My goodness, that was a lot shorter of a time. Well, it's a lot shorter of a time because all of this time was being counted on this previous round. Does this make sense? Because we play rounds inconsistently, because we spend more time on one round than the other, and because the game only awards Gobblegums at the end of a round, our measurements here are not going to be representative of the actual round itself. Now you might think, let's take all of this and maybe average because, hey, maybe that's close, but here's the problem with that, even though those lined up a lot better than I thought they were going to. What if we were to move everything down here, right? What if you were playing the game? What if this round went a little bit longer than it was supposed to? So you earned this Gobblegum down here. And so the time we measured this Gobblegum was a lot longer. Now we would measure this as way long. Now you could see how our observations are inconsistent to what is actually going on in game. And you might think, Donuts, how did you come up with this system? Why are you so passionate about this system specifically? Because this is the exact system that Black Ops 4 used for Nebullium Plasma. Every 3 minutes, if you had earned a certain amount of XP, if you earned 1500 XP, the game would award you with 1 Nebullium Plasma, which was the currency at the time to buy elixirs, which were the Gobblegums of the game. So this system, every 20 minutes, it awards you with a Gobblegum. And you know what? There very well may be an XP check as well. It might be if you've earned a 10,000 XP within 20 minutes, boom, you're going to earn a Gobblegum, which might be why, hey, if you take really long on a certain round and you don't get a Gobblegum, maybe you didn't earn enough XP. Or maybe it's 20 minutes and a certain amount of XP. So that way you have a 20-minute timer and then it's waiting for the XP to catch up and then it awards you the Gobblegum. But unfortunately, there's really no good way of tracking how much XP you're earning in real time. Because believe me, I already thought of that, because here I'm going to unhide these guys. Waha! We have match XP and XP per minute. If these Gobblegums were tied to your XP in any way, having a game that is really high in XP per minute, it would give you a lot of Gobblegums. But as you can see in this game right here, we got 1100 XP per minute, but we only earned 2 Gobblegums that game. We earned a mere 600 XP per minute right here in this game, but we earned 3 Gobblegums. So clearly the correlation is not there. So what did we do differently this game than this game? Because they're both around 26. Well, we spent more time in this game, and we did this game very quickly, with this game very slowly. So of course, game time, boom, there you go, more Gobblegums. Now, just before making this video, something I've never seen happen before happened. I somehow got a 44-minute time since the previous Gobblegum. I have no idea why. I don't know, I have no idea how that happened. It could be an outlier. I could have missed something. There was one game here, full transparency, round 11, I was in a chopper gunner and I just couldn't see how many Gobblegums I got. So I apologize. You know, this piece of data is just very basically inaccurate right here, but I know the time sense. And when you look and when you're playing, the feel of the time sense is just so consistent to me. After the double XP, we are consistently doing 29, 30, 28, 30, 27, 23, 25. They are so like consistent with this. And my little conspiracy theory, in addition to the kind of offset times that we just discussed, my little tinfoil hat that I really can't prove is that maybe just sometimes there's an algorithm that gives you a Gobblegum just for fun to keep you interested. I don't know. But having it time-based really makes sense because, well, you can't game it. There is no strategy to get more Gobblegums. The strategy to get more Gobblegums is to keep playing. If there were a strategy to go to this high round and just farm up Perkaholics and farm up these guys, well then we would just save and quit these high round games and we would exploit that. The way to keep players hooked on this thing is to give them one and only one way of winning, and that is to keep playing. If you excluded the good Gobblegums to the high rounds, then people would get to the high rounds, get the great Gobblegums and be happy. Or they would be discouraged because they don't like high rounds, so they would stop playing. But giving somebody a Perkaholic on round 16 goes, hey, I want to keep playing this game. Giving somebody a Wonder Bar on round 20 goes, hey, I don't need to get to those high rounds. I could just do this while playing. Having Gobblegums completely tied to the time played guarantees all of us to keep playing the game. And this to me is all but anecdotally confirmed by our very first game. Remember, our average for our double XP or double Gobblegum here was 12 minutes. This very first game we played, it was an Easter egg run, lots of time spent in the late teens and early 20s. You could see we earned a Gobblegum on round 25, we probably did the boss fight, we probably did all the Easter egg steps, and it was about 12 minutes since our last Gobblegum, and we'd earned probably enough XP by doing the Easter egg, and that check was done, and boom, round 26, hey, here's another Gobblegum. The Rampage Inducer, highly contested, game number 5, every single round 36, I did every single round, round 36 Rampage Inducer. It's crazy, by the way. People are saying, don't use the Rampage Inducer, don't use the Rampage Inducer, it ruins your Gobblegum. I got 5 Gobblegums during the double Gobblegum, double Gobblegum XP here. 5 Gobblegums, all within the same game, not because, oh, I sped through the rounds really quickly, but because it was on average the same 12 and a half minutes we were talking about. 14, 13, we got a little bonus one there, we got 11, 13, all within the parameters that we set. The biggest correlation that you will ever see if you decide to write this down, at least from what I found, the more you play the game, the longer your games are, the more you will be awarded Gobblegums. But it is just game time. And think about this logically. Game 17, we got a Gobblegum on round 2. How much could you do within round 1? We didn't get it after round 2, we got it on round 2. What could we have possibly done on round 1 to earn a Gobblegum? Nothing, except it was that time to reward us with one. Once again, over 24 hours of in-game time, 108 Gobblegums, 734 total rounds. What can we say definitively? Number 1, the quantity of Gobblegums is not tied to any sort of round. You will get just as many Gobblegums on round 50 as you do on round 2. The rarity of Gobblegums is also not tied to any round. When you are awarded a Gobblegum, when you see that animation, you have just as much luck to get an ultra or a legendary as you do at any other point in the game. As far as my limited sample size is concerned, each Gobblegum within its own rarity is just as likely as the other. Put an asterisk next to that one, editing donuts, because we need some more data for that. As far as earning Gobblegums is concerned, Gobblegums do not appear to be tied to your XP. There is no correlation between rounds and earning Gobblegums. This does not work like Black Ops 3. It sure doesn't work like Cold War. Gobblegums are most likely tied to time played. Every 20 to 25 minutes, you should be awarded a Gobblegum spin. Put an asterisk in there because I also believe, but cannot test, that there probably is an XP check just to make sure you're not like AFK farming or something like that. Whether you earn 1, 2, or 3 Gobblegums appears to be random. However, I would love to have some more stats on this. I am really tired, beautiful people. Like I said, I was playing for 24 hours straight. I was trying not to save and quit. I was trying not to pause for too long because that would ruin my numbers. I tried thinking of any variable that I could. Like I said, I have my match XP and my XP per minute there saved. As a reminder, I'm putting in the spreadsheet in the link in the description just for you guys to look over it and just appreciate all my hard work. And I do want to say, as humbly as I can, if I am just utterly and completely wrong, and I'm coming at this at the wrong angle, and you're like, Donuts, this is the obvious solution right here, please let me know. I will make a follow-up video. I love this quote. It's a Mythbusters quote. That's such a nerdy thing to say, but a scientist is pretty happy when he's proven right, but he's even happier when he's proven wrong. I would love to be proven wrong. I would love to have some sort of concrete answer to this, because like I said at the beginning of the video, I would love to make the best the best rare Gobblegum strategy video on the internet, but it just doesn't appear like it's even remotely possible for us to manipulate any of this towards our favor. From a game development standpoint, that makes a lot of sense. From all of the numbers that I've crunched here, that's what I've discovered. If there's any developer out there that could end my torment, I would love, just DM me on Discord or Twitter. I'll be quiet, it's okay. That was a joke. That was a joke. You can still message me, but you know. So if all of this math talk and all this technicality stuff has gotten your brain hurting like it does mine, you probably just want to watch some fun gameplay of Black Ops 6. Well, don't you worry, I have plenty of gameplay for you right here, and as always, stay beautiful.